Let me welcome you to MedZone African Motives. Here we are on Business Studies Grade 11, Term 2 notes. We are on Business Studies Grade 11, Term 2 notes. So the topic that we are on it is stress, crisis, and change management. That is the topic that we are busy of. Like in our previous presentation, we did talk about stress and as well as crisis. So now for today, we are going to be on change management. We are going to be on change management. This is where we are on today's presentation. We are on change management. So that is that. So as you can see, our topic overview, you can see we have stress, we have crisis in the workplace. So these two, we did talk about them in our previous presentation. So we are on change management. So let's quickly attend to it. So here we are on change management. Change management. So as it says, changes is a process that takes place. Change is a process that takes people, employees, and organizations from present to desired future through change management process. Through change management process. So here we are saying change is a process from present to future. That's what we are saying. We are saying a change. We are saying change is a process, from present to future. From present to future. That's what this statement means. Meaning to say, change moves a business from its current way of doing things to a better or improved way. So that is that. For example, a company moves from paper records to digital systems. Hope we are together, good people. So it further on says it is referred to as a new way of getting things done. So that is, change is a new way of doing things. Change is a new way of doing things. Meaning to say it involves introducing new methods or systems. It involves introducing new methods or system. For example, using online meetings instead of face-to-face meetings. That's what we mean when we say it involves introducing new methods or system. Hope we are together. So again, it says in order to stay abreast of the latest trends to meet customer requirements and remain competitive internationally, business need to continuously improve their technological advances. Therefore, change within the business environment is inevitable. So, what it means is that when it says, uh, when it says it refers to trends to meet customer requirements, it means that a business must keep up with trends. Business must keep up with trends and technology. That is what it means. That's what this statement means when it says it is referred to, no, when it says in order to stay abreast of the latest trends to meet customer requirements and remain competitive internationally. So it means we are, as a business, we must keep up trends and technology, meaning to stay competitive, business must improve continuously. For example, a shop starts online selling to compete with others. So that is that. Hope we are together on that. Then it lastly say, therefore, change within the business environment is inevitable. Meaning to say, change cannot be avoided in business. Change cannot be avoided in business. We are together on that. Now let us move on, good people, and let us be on internal and external causes of change. So we're first going to start with what? Internal causes of change. Let us start with internal causes of change. As it says, internal changes are changes that can influence the internal business or organizational environment. These changes are new business objectives or goals. New business objectives or goals. Meaning to say, we're talking about new objectives requires changes in operations. We are saying new objectives. New objectives uh, requires require require changes in operations. That is that. That's what we mean. New objectives requires changes in operations. For example, expanding from local to international markets. So that is that when we talk about new business objectives or goals. Also, it talks about high employee turnover, where many employees must join the business. So it means that many new employees require adjustment. Many new employees require what? Adjustment. That is that. New policies and procedures implemented in the business. Now we're talking about procedures. We are talking about policies and procedures implemented in a business. So what it means is that new rules change how work is done. New rules change how work is done. Here we are talking about what? New rules. New rules change how work is done. Change how work is done. So that is that. So we can make an example of that where we say you are introducing a new leave policy. A new leave policy. This is going to change how the work is going to be done. So that is that. Now coming to new management now is one of the internal causes of change. So now we are talking about new leaders bring new ideas and changes. So we're talking about what? New leaders. So we are saying new leaders uh, bring new ideas and changes. A new manager changing working hours. So that is the change that comes up with what? With the new management. So let us move on to restructuring. So with restructuring, you're saying that is changing the structure of the business. This is where we're talking about changing what? Structure of the business. Changing the structure of the business. Changing the structure of the business. So that is that. So for example, whereby now you are merging the departments. So when you merge the departments, it means now you are changing the structure of the business, restructuring. It is as well internal causes of change. Let us move on. Now we are on retrenchment. Retrenchment. So with retrenchment here, we are talking about reducing staff numbers to cut costs. With this one, you are reducing staff numbers. Reducing staff numbers to cut cost. To cut costs. So that is that. For example, laying off workers during financial problems. So that is that. Also, we have new equipment as a causes of internal change. New equipment. Here we are talking about new machines require changes in the work processes. We are talking about what? New machines. We are talking about new machines So new machines require changes in work processes. That is that. Whereby, for example, you introduce automated machines in a factory. So hope you're together on that. Let us move on. Let us move on. Now we move on to external causes of change. External causes of change. So with external causes of change, it says external changes cannot be controlled by the business. These changes influence the way in which business operates. Such changes are political factors, for example, changes in government policy and international relations. So meaning to say, we are talking about government policies affect the business. The government policies, the government policies affect, we're talking of government policies that affect the business. Government policies do affect businesses, do affect businesses. So that is that. We can talk of new tax laws to affect the business. So we are saying those are external causes of change. So you are forced to go to such change because business cannot control these external changes. So they influence the way in which business operates. Also, we have social factors. For example, we're talking of poverty or unemployment, HIV and AIDS, and so on. So social factors, like we're talking about those examples that you've just mentioned, it's about society issues influence what? Business. Society issues influence the business. So here we're talking about the society issues. So society issues influence what? The business. For example, high employment affecting customer spending. So those are the society issues. They affect the business because now, if ever the society now is into a situation whereby they are facing unemployment, the customer spending is going to reduce, and that is going to affect the profits and sales of the business. Now we also have legal factors as one of the external cause of change, as it says, for example, the passing of new laws. These are the legal factors. We are talking about new laws require business to adapt. New laws. Here we're talking about what? New laws. So the new laws require business to adapt. You can talk of the labor law changes. So they are affecting what? Our business. Another external factor is economic factor. For example, an increase in interest rate. So that is an economic factor. So here we're talking about economic conditions. Economic conditions. We are talking about the economic conditions. So the economic conditions affect operations. They do what? Affect. They affect operations. So that is that. They affect operations. Like they talk about the interest rates. Once the interest rates increase, that is going to affect the operations of the business. Another factor is technological factor. For example, advances in production techniques and the information as well as communication technology revolution. So that is technological factor, where we say new technology forces change. New technology forces change. New technology forces change. So that is that. For example, using advanced software system is going to force the business to change. And the business has no control over that. You cannot stop technology to take place. You cannot stand on the way of technology. Also, we have market factors. For example, new firms entering the market and introducing new products. That is a market factor. Here we're talking about competition and customer needs change. We are talking about competition We're talking about competition and customers' needs. And customer needs change. Customer needs change. So that is that when you talk about the market factors. You can talk of new competitors entering the market. So you cannot control, you cannot stop them to enter into market. That is why we're saying these are the examples or these are the external causes of change. So hope we are together on that. Let us move on with people. So now we are moving on to Kotter's 8 steps of leading change. We are saying it's John P. Kotter's 8 steps of leading change. So it says that the intention of the model developed by John P. Kotters is to assist business and their staff to manage and deal with the change process of the business or organization. So there are steps here. It says the steps are outlined below. The steps are outlined below. It says establish a sense of agency by motivating employees. So what it means now, we are talking about you create agency. You create agency. You, by doing what? You motivate employees to see the need for change. You motivate the employees to see the need for change. That is when you create agency. As it says, establish a sense of agency. So here you create agency. You create agency. So you do that by motivating employees so that they can see the need for change. You can show them, for example, show declining sales figures, that sales are declining. So we need to change so that we improve our sales. So that is that. Form a powerful coalition by bringing together a team of influential people who will convince everyone else that change is needed. Here you form a powerful team. You form a powerful team. So you form a powerful team. You create a group to lead change. You create a group to lead change. Managers and senior staff lead the process. So that is that. Develop a vision and strategy to decide what values are central to the required change in the business or organization. So here you develop vision and strategy. You develop vision and strategy. You develop vision and strategy. So you do that by making what? By making sure that you plan what the change will achieve. You do that by making sure that you plan what the change will achieve. For example, a vision to become a digital company. That is what will be achieved by the vision. So hope you're together, guys. Let us move on. Let us move on to another point. So now it says, communicate the vision frequently and demonstrate the kind of behavior that they want from their employees. So here you communicate the vision. Communicate the vision. Share the plan clearly with employees. Share the plan clearly with what? With the employees. That is that. You do regular meetings explaining changes with employees. Empower broad-based action by identifying employees who are resisting change and help them see the need for change. So here you empower employees. Empower employees. You empower employees. So you do that whereby now you're going to help employees accept and support change. So for you to do that, for example, you have to take them to training. on a new system. That is that. Generate a short-term victory and make sure that the business tastes success early in the change management process. So here, create short-term wins. Create short-term wins. Create short-term wins. That is that. Meaning to say, you achieve quick success to motivate the staff. Achieve quick successes to motivate staff. That is that. For example, completing the first phase of a project. That is what we're saying. You generate short-term victory. Create a short-term term wins. So that is that. Make sure that you complete the first phase of your project. That is that. So that the business can taste what? A success. Quickly make sure that you fight for that. Build on a change by analyzing what went right and what needs to be improved after each winning situation. So you build on change. Here we are saying build on change. Meaning to say improve and continue after success. Improve and continue after success. So that is that. Anchor the changes in corporate culture, and this must become part of the core mechanism of the business. So here we are saying make change permanent. Make change permanent. That's what this means. So we need to ensure change it becomes part of the culture. So that is that. Now let us move on, good people. Let us move on. As you can see, so we can see now these are the steps that you have just talked about. These are the steps that we have just talked about. So, whereby we talked about creating climate for change, engaging and enabling the organization, implementing and sustaining for change. So these are the 8 steps that we have talked about. So now let us move on to measure changes that business and people deal with. So we're talking about major changes that business and people deal with. And we're first going to talk about unemployment as the first one. As it says, this occurs when employees lose their jobs due to resignation for better position or being fired or choosing to stop working. So meaning to say, with unemployment, you're saying people lose job due to resignation, like we've said, firing, business, or closure. So that is that. So let us move on to another point. Let us move on to another point. As it says, changes that take place in the business may lead to unemployment due to retrenchment or when the business closes down. So here we're talking about retrenchment. We know that this is when the business reduces staff to cut cost. So a company lays off workers due to low profits. Now they are to do what retrenchment. Many people who are unemployed struggle to cope, and this may lead to illness and depression. So that is that also that these people who are not going to cope with this unemployment, they are going to get ill and they're going to find themselves having a depression. So hope we are together on that. Now we are going on to retrenchment. As it says, retrenchment now. Retrenchment occurs when a business reduces the number of workers in the business or organization to reduce cost of the salaries and wages. bill. Like we've said, that is when the business try to downsize. So they do downsizing because of now you find that the business is struggling financially, and then they are trying to make sure that they reduce cost. We'll be together on that. So let us move on. Also, it says essentially this is a process that is used by the employer to evaluate the business needs in order to increase profits while it's reducing its employees. This is whereby now you want to increase the profits. So you realize that you are struggling as a business financially. So you try to cut the number of employees so that you increase your profits, because cutting the number of employees is going to cut the expenses like a salary as well as wages that you have to pay to those employees. Restructuring and economic changes may lead to many people being retrenched from their jobs. So that is that. Now we have what globalization as well. Global globalization. So with globalization, as it says, due to the narrowing of global markets, business can trade in different countries. We are talking of what when you talk of globalization, you're talking about the expansion. It's all about what you want to operate internationally. Let's say is where you expand your business. So business operate internationally and must adapt. That's about what? That's about globalization. As it says, due to the narrowing of global markets, business can trade in different countries. This requires flexibility in order to adapt to changes brought about by globalization. So now you are to make sure that you are going to adapt as a business. With improved ongoing technology process, new technology must be combined and used to make processes more efficient. The business should ensure that their product or service is of high standard and quality, which will result in a competition amongst businesses. So that is that. So now coming to affirmative action. So with affirmative action, this is where I know we're talking about ensures equal opportunities for disadvantaged groups when you're doing of affirmative action. This is where we are making sure that those previously disadvantaged um, groups are now going to be able to as well access equal job opportunities. So as it says, it is a legal requirement for business to ensure that they offer equal opportunities to people from previously disadvantaged or designated groups in the workplace. That is affirmative action. Also, the aim of the policies to ensure the representation of women, people with disabilities, Black South Africans affected in a business. So that is makes to make sure that in the business, women are represented. They can as well access senior positions. People with disabilities also can as well be included. They are not overlooked. Also, Black South Africans can be in the senior positions. So that is that. That is affirmative action that we're talking about. So let us move on. Now we are on the strategies. Strategies business used to deal with globalization and affirmative action. Now we're going to start with globalization. We're going to start with globalization. Strategies to deal with globalization. It says business should be attentive of changes and trends in their related industry. Monitor industry trends. That's what it means. Monitor industry, monitor industry trends. That is that. So stay informed about changes. Stay informed about changes. So meaning to say, follow the market trends. That is that. They should stay up to date with new technology processes and developments to ensure that they have competitive advantage. So business should stay updated with new technology. I mean to say, use new technology, use new technology, use new technology, so that you can have what? Competitive advantage. Stay competitive with innovation. So that is that. For example, using modern production machines. So that is that. That will give the business what? A competitive advantage. Overseas markets for the business products explored, should be explored. So you're talking about the overseas markets for the business products should be explored. So explore international markets. So here we are saying explore international markets. Explore international markets. Explore international markets. Sell products globally. So that is that. Sell products globally. Let us move on to another statement or point. It says business should ensure that their products meet international standards of quality. So it means that you are to maintain high quality, meet global standards, meet global standards. That is that. Maintain high quality, produce durable products. That is that. Products that are made available to different markets should be useful, eye-catching, as well as this must be unique. So offer unique products. Offer unique products. Offer unique products. Stand out from competitors. Stand out from competitors. Try by all means, for example, to design unique packaging that differentiate you from your competitors. That will give you a competitive advantage. Source overseas manufacturers, materials, suppliers, and etc. to ensure the business stay competitive. Source globally. That's what you're saying. Source globally. Source globally. That is that. We need to say, buy cheaper materials worldwide. You import raw materials. Build a strategy for connecting with government around the world. So you build global relations. So with this point, it says build global, build global relations. Build global relations. So it means that to work with governments and partners. So that you can, for example, do what? Trade agreements with other countries. Comply with international trade laws to make it easy to trade internationally. So here you follow international laws. Follow international laws. Comply with global regulations. So that is that. Upgrade the enterprise information technology. New upgrade enterprise information technology network to enable online purchasing. So here you upgrade IT system. So use technology for global trade. So that is that. So now let us come to a affirmative action. Let us be on affirmative action. So with affirmative action, that is a strategy for affirmative action. It says business should ensure that they are compliant with affirmative action procedures and that all employees are aware of this, are aware that these are being implemented within the business. So you follow what? policies. It means you follow policies. Ensure fair employment practices. That is, for example, hiring from diverse groups. That is that. Employees should research new ideas and opportunities to keep track of latest trends and improve their workplace practices. Here you research and improve. Keep learning new ideas. Keep learning new ideas as a business. Remain keen students through the entire of your life because there are changes that are taking place in the market. So let us move on. Also says all staff should work together and practice mindfulness about their job. So what it means is that work together, work together. Uh, this will promote teamwork and respect. So try to do team building activities. They are very important. Skill levels should be improved so that eligible staff can apply for future positions and promotions within the business. So you improve the skills of your employees. Prepare for that will prepare for the promotions. Differences among staff members should be acknowledged and respected. And emphasis should be placed on achieving the goals and objectives of the business. So this is where we're talking about what respect diversity, accept the differences. That is when you respect what diversity, you accept the differences, you respect cultural practices. Self-employment opportunities should be explored. So we are talking about explore self-employment, create own job opportunities. So that is that. Now let us move on to ways business can manage change in workplace. Ways business can manage change in workplace. So as it says, as you've said, ways business can manage change in the workplace. It says business should recognize the differences that manifest when change processes are started and uh, set out to achieve goals or objectives of the process for change. So here we are saying recognize difference, recognize differences during change. That is that. We are saying recognize differences during change. Recognize differences during change, meaning understand that employees react differently. So, for example, some employees resist change. So that is that. Recognize differences during change. Business should recognize that change creates stress and disequilibrium for employees. Understands from, so what we are trying to say. So what it means is that we are trying to say understands stress from change. So it means we are to understand stress from change. Understand stress from change. So it means that change can cause discomfort. Change can cause discomfort. For example, employees feeling anxious about new system. So that is that. It is important for the business to capacitate the employees with stress and change management solution to cope with different situations. So here we are saying train employees so that they can equip staff with skills to cope, equip staff with skills to cope. Employees should engage Employers should engage employees in the process of change to build trust. So involve employees. That is when you're talking about a participation builds trust. Participation builds trust. By consulting and communicating with employees, management shows that they are transparent and are keeping all staff informed of the expected changes. So what it means is that we have said you are to encourage participation. So here you consult and communicate with employees. Make sure that there is a communication between uh, employers and employees. So this shows that management shows that they are transparent to these people. So that is that. They show transparency by making sure that they uh, consult and communicate with employees. Management should adhere to the plan, not move away from it. So stick to the plan as management. All employees should participate in the transformation process. So here we're talking about what? Encouraging of what? Of participation. Change can be implemented easily if employees have a good interpersonal relationship, demonstrating trust and respect and support for each of each other. Also, and to ensure that employees have a competitive advantage for promotion purposes, they should practice lifelong learning to ensure that they have the expected skills and knowledge base. So we're talking about promote lifelong. That is where you continuously learning improve skills. So thank you very much for your time and please share with others. Thank you.